55-year-old GP named Nicholas Chapman from Taunton in the UK has been sentenced to 12 months community order, which basically means that he has to carry out over 200 hours of unpaid community work in the next 12 months. And what could he have done? I hear you cry. What could this Dr. Nicholas Chapman possibly have done?
Unnecessary pelvic exams?
No.
Okay.
So back in 2021, an unnamed woman told the police that she was concerned that Dr. Chapman had been doing something strange to the cups of coffee that he'd been making for her.
No.
Yes. So she first said that she noticed something was off back in 2020 when he gave her a cup of coffee that she said tasted salty.
No.
And she saw a thick, gloopy substance at the bottom of the cup. Chapman then asked her, probably looking at the look on her face, "Did you notice something in your drink?" "I noticed something in mine," which is a little bit quite bait of him to do. So at this point, Chapman had apparently been making this unnamed woman around 3 cups of coffee a week. Now, we don't know because none of the articles state what their relationship was. I'm going to guess co-worker because doctors don't make their patients cups of coffee, and certainly not 3 times a week.
No, definitely not.
And I'm also guessing it's not a personal relationship because she's talking about it in the confines of him being a doctor.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing co-worker, maybe like receptionist, nurse, other doctor, something. We do not know. So when she first started noticing the saltiness and goopy residue, the woman began secretly pouring the coffee away that Chapman would make her. And this is when she noticed the goopy substance at the bottom. And then one day in September 2021, this woman discovered numerous specimen containers in Dr. Chapman's bag. Instantly, for some reason, it dawned on this woman that Chapman had most likely been masturbating into those specimen jars and then pouring his semen into her coffee. Now, that's a pretty wild thing for your brain to jump to, but if I kept getting coffees that were salty and filled with goopy things, I might also jump to that conclusion. Now, this is where she turns detective. So, the next time that Chapman made her a coffee, normally she'd just pour it away, but this time she poured it into a specimen jar of her own and took it pretty quickly to the police and asked for them to do a test on it, which I'm like surprised that they did that.
Yeah.
Because like as far as they know, she's just a random woman who turned up with a fucking specimen pot full of coffee and semen and said that a doctor had been doing it to her. But they do test it and they found that it was indeed Dr. Chapman's salty excretions. And so when he turned up for work the next day, he was arrested. And during the trial, Chapman admitted that he did masturbate at work, but he said it was a painful necessity and not for pleasure. Now, he claimed that it's a condition he suffered with since he was 16, where he'd involuntarily let out semen while defecating. I know. But there is no history of this condition anywhere in his medical records. Not saying it's not true, just saying there's not a record of this anywhere. Also, the trial has brought up 2 other colleagues who said that on separate occasions, Chapman had shown them pictures of his erect penis on his phone. But both times he played it off as an accident. As for why the semen ended up in the coffee, because he's saying, I painfully ejaculate whenever I go to the toilet. He says that he never put it in there. He says that he had been collecting these samples, presumably for some sort of medical detective work as to why he has this condition. And maybe somebody else had taken them out of his bag and put them in the coffee as a prank. Sure. Either that, or he said that maybe it was a result of him not having washed his hands properly after going to the toilet and they were covered in semen. And then he stirs his co-worker's coffee with his semen-covered hands. I don't know. Also, why as a doctor Are you not washing your hands properly? That's also incredibly alarming. And this was in 2021. We're fucking COVID. You weren't washing your hands properly. Oh my God, it's so disgusting. So basically, the victim said at court that she had suffered immense emotional trauma as a result of his actions. And she has been granted a 10-year restraining order against Chapman. And he's also going on the sex offenders register for the next 5 years. And this, I think, is a bit shoddy. He was made to pay £3,500 in court fees and a £95 victim surcharge. I know.
Oh my God.
So gross.
Sometimes I just want to burn this country to the ground.
No, don't take us all. Just this guy. What's he doing? Fuck it out. I'm not wanking off into people's cups of coffee. Thanks very much.
Yet.